Holy crackers, look at the views! It's like I've become a one-hit wonder and suddenly everyone loves me. Well, except for the people telling me I'm wrong. Especially about Jigglypuff. I didn't want to make another character video unless something major happened. And as luck would have it, this leak happened and completely turned this community upside down. Then Shulk was revealed and that poured even more gas on the fire. I didn't even want to talk about this leak originally since I rarely ever actually believe this stuff. But after the big reveal on Friday, I don't think there's any way to get around talking about this leak in particular any longer. Now, there was a whole lot more to this leak than just characters, but for the sake of this video, that's all I'm going to be focusing on. If you want to know the full history behind the leak or what other content it claims is in the game, I suggest you watch this video by Relax-A-Lax. He does a great job summarizing everything that happened, and I'm just a fan of his videos in general, so I thought I'd give him a plug. I think at this point, it's pretty hard to deny that this leak is probably true. Some of the character renders, such as Ness and Duck Hunt Dog, have yet to be debunked. The gameplay footage of Shulk and Bowser Jr. kinda put Nintendo in an impossible situation. Obviously they didn't want us to see these characters yet, so they took the videos down. They wouldn't have any reason to do so if the footage was just a very elaborate brawl mod or something, and therefore wasn't official. They clearly had something to hide here, and if they didn't take the videos down, that information would have remained online for all to see. So much for a surprise. They were kind of stuck no matter what they did. But what really closed the deal was when Shulk was confirmed on Friday. He himself is not too surprising to see. He had quite a hefty amount of desire and support from the community as one of the most highly requested characters. It's the fact that his official render is the exact same one seen in the leaked screenshots that pushes the whole thing over the edge. While the tiny little skeptic in me wants to believe that there's still a chance that not everything in this leak is true since we only saw footage of Shulk and Bowser Jr. and no one else, it's time to face the facts. This leak has managed to go farther than even Gematsu. It did what Gematsu didn't, and coupled with the fact that supposedly the guy who was responsible for this leak was fired and sued by Nintendo, I think it's safe to say that we could be looking at a major handful of our remaining unannounced characters. If this wasn't classified legitimate information, there would be no need for Nintendo to be taking this so seriously. Again, the fact that they are indicates that they have something to hide. If I can be perfectly honest, I hate leaks. Not just because most of the time they aren't true, but when they actually are true, it completely ruins the surprise for everyone. It's like when you're about to go see a movie you've been looking forward to for months, and then someone spoils the ending for you. I completely support Nintendo's course of action here, and if Sakurai is upset about this, he has every right to be. The man nearly worked himself to death on this game, and then this random Joe Schmo comes along and ruins everything he had been working so hard on. All I can say is that I hope this guy faces serious repercussions for this. It doesn't matter how badly we wanted this information. We could have and should have waited. But it was his choice to make, so I hope he faces the consequences for it. I can't hate this guy on a personal level, but somewhere along the way, a line was crossed, and this needs to be dealt with. But aside from my dislike of leaks in general, what do I think of this one in particular, since we're more confident now that this one is telling the truth? I think the best way to describe my reaction to this leak would be that I kind of went through the 5 stages of acceptance. You might be familiar with this concept, but if you aren't, I'll be happy to elaborate. Stage 1, denial. When I first saw this leak, I thought, there's no way this is real. Sakurai would never bring back Dr. Mario and put in Dark Pit as yet another clone and add another Mario character and blah blah blah. I completely dismissed this rumor altogether. I thought there were way too many questionable choices, and people were already trying to point out flaws and looking for inconsistencies that seemed logical to me, so I was quickly inclined to agree. Stage 2. Anger. I reached this stage as soon as I saw the gameplay videos of Shulk and Bowser Jr. That evidence was pretty damn convincing because it's video proof. It's not just some text post or photoshopped screenshot, it's actual gameplay. And if it was in fact a brawl mod, it had to have been a pretty elaborate one at that. Maybe so ambitious to the point where it wouldn't be worth putting together and putting so much effort into it if it was just a fake in reality. But I didn't like this roster. At all. I didn't like this leak, and I hated that there was real evidence to support that it was possibly true. I did not like that at all, so I was pretty angry about it. Stage 3. Bargaining. The leak was starting to look more and more believable, so I tried to work beyond my anger and put a twist on it that would satisfy me personally. It has since been noted that this screenshot does not show all of the characters, so I immediately started clinging to the hope that one of those secret characters would satisfy me enough that I would become tolerant of the rest of the roster. It sounded pretty silly, and that's because it was. I was bargaining with myself. Stage 4. Depression. I couldn't ignore the fact that I really just did not like the rest of the characters here at all. I did not agree with adding Bowser Jr. after Rosalina. I hated Dr. Mario. I disliked Dark Pit. I thought Duck Hunt Dog was a stupid idea. And I was just feeling pessimistic all around. It wasn't pretty. I couldn't believe that after the way this game completely amazed us in its debut, and after all the consistently exciting newcomer announcements we've gotten up until this point, that these were the characters they were saving for last. That this was what was waiting for us at the end of the road. It just didn't seem worth it. None of these characters seemed worth holding off until the end to me. I even started to believe that this roster could actually turn out to be somewhat disappointing for me, despite all that I had grown to love about it thus far. Luckily though, I didn't stay trapped in this mindset forever. And that brings us to the final stage, Stage 5, Acceptance. This is where I am now. I have given it enough thought, I've worked through my anger and my initial reactions, and this is where I stand. I have decided to accept this roster for what it is, since it's looking very plausible at this moment. And I'm going to... Let it go, let it go. No, I wasn't going to say that. What I was going to say was that I'm going to quit complaining and just look at the bigger picture here. This roster is not disappointing. Far from it. These are all reasonable choices. They make sense, and even if I don't prefer some of them, they aren't going to ruin this game for me. They shouldn't ruin it for anyone. This game is still going to be just as glorious as we all thought it was going to be before this stupid leak ever happened. It doesn't matter what changes I would have made or who I wanted to see because this isn't my game. It's Super Smash Bros., and 3 times in a row, I have loved the game Sakurai has given us, regardless of who was in the final roster. I always had my favorite characters, and Sakurai has always given us new faces to enjoy. In a way, he knows what I want better than I do. I just want to make this clear, that if this is in fact part of our remaining roster, I'm 100% okay with it now. I don't have to love or agree with all the choices, but that doesn't really matter in the long run. I'm still going to love this game regardless. With that being said, let's take a look at what we've got here in terms of remaining characters. Dr. Mario. I don't really agree with bringing him back, but I understand why he's here, and I'll live with it. I still think he would be most fitting as an alternate costume for regular Mario, and maybe that was the case for a while. I mean, Lucina was going to be an alt for Marth, and now she's playable. Same thing could apply to Dr. Mario and Dark Pit. Perhaps the development team didn't have enough time to put together more new characters from scratch, so they decided to give us a few clones instead to boost up the roster count and ultimately include more characters. If they had more time, maybe they would have put in even more new characters. It's not really something to get mad about. It still amounts to more characters regardless. And with any luck, maybe their differences will be more distinguishable than in previous games. If they have key notable differences from their original counterparts, I really don't see much of a problem here. Dark Pit. Like Dr. Mario, I'm more tolerant of clones now, so I'm not really mad about his inclusion anymore. At least he's a different character in his own franchise from Pit. I just think it's a little weird that we'd get both him and Palutena at the same time in this game when we still haven't seen a Donkey Kong or even a Zelda newcomer yet. But then again, Meta Knight and King Dedede both got added in Brawl, so I guess 2 new faces at once isn't so far-fetched. Apparently Mario doesn't find that to be a problem since we're also getting Bowser Jr. I have nothing against him personally. I always thought he was a pretty good candidate, even though there was someone else from the franchise I wanted to see more. He's apparently not a clone of Bowser, so that's good. The Clown Car moveset is a little jarring at first, but it's interesting to say the least. I just feel it's a little redundant to add him after we already got Rosalina, but oh well. He's cool too, I guess. I mean, this gives us 7 Mario characters, 9 if you're one of those people who counts Yoshi and Wario too, but they're still good characters. However, face of Nintendo or not, that still seems to be going a little overboard to me. If we're getting this many Mario characters, then we'd better be getting all of our Pokemon ones back too, right? Right? Oh, come on, I just want Mewtwo and Squirtle. Seriously, just give them to me and I'll be happy, Sakurai! And finally, we get to the Duck Hunt Dog. I'll be honest, I never liked the idea of playable Duck Hunt Dog. Ever. I just never thought he could work. I mean, he's iconic, sure. People probably remember him before the Ice Climbers. But I just never thought he had that much moveset potential. I always thought he could be an assist trophy or something. But having no moveset potential is the exact same thing I thought about Rosalina. And look at her now. So now the Duck Hunt Dog is in. I guess it's cool, right? Hey, look at all those veterans! Honestly, it's not really any of these ones in particular that are surprising, at least to me. A lot of them we've been expecting to return. It's really the lack of certain characters that is grabbing our attention. There was a claim that these guys would be DLC, but that was later proven to not be true, so where are they then? Good question. We know there's still room for more characters to be unlocked, and that could include any of these ones in question. However, there's a rumor flying around that some of the playable characters yet to be unlocked here include Dixie Kong. Rest in peace, King K. Rool, unless you're a boss or something. Impa. Okay, sure, even though I have been hearing other people say that this one isn't true. Chorus Kids. I really would not be surprised by this one. Ridley. Ooh, that Fallout's going to be fun to deal with. And Mewtwo. Wait, Mewtwo? Please, for the love of God, let this rumor be true. Now, as always, you should be taking everything here with a grain of salt. We don't have any definitive proof that any of these characters are in or that any of these ones are cut. This leak gave us a lot to think about, but since we're closing in on the Japanese release of the 3DS version, it seems we don't have too much longer to wait before we finally have all of our answers.